All right, so Joey's got a little bit of closing shoulder pain on the front side of his shoulder. Instead of working on where the actual pain is, we kind of call it the 180-degree rule. So basically where the pain's coming from the front side, so 180 degrees is gonna be the back side here. So a couple things that we're gonna check out here. There's 3 big movers that cause internal rotation of the shoulder. So this is gonna be here. And as we go into internal rotation, it closes down the space in the front of the shoulder. So we need to figure out how to open this back up. So a lot of the big muscles that are gonna cause this internal rotation, one of them is gonna be the pec right here. The other one's gonna be this lat that comes off the hip and then comes up. And then the last one that we're gonna talk about, actually another one too that we'll talk about is gonna be the teres major. That's on the scapula, and it's also attaches up here in the arm too. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the upper trap. But the biggest things that we're kind of looking at here with Joey is this teres group is kind of underneath the armpit right here. What he likes to do, instead of being able to get some good horizontal abduction and kind of open the space up, when he does stuff, he locks down with the lat. So as he tries to protract and retract, he's just locking down with the lat, and it's gonna limit his range of motion that he has in his shoulder. So the first thing that we're gonna kind of do, just a normal assessment, typically just nice and easy. I just wanna see passively what kind of range he has in his shoulder extension. Another one that we'll do is when we work around the side over here, I'll kind of put my finger and my thumb on the top of his shoulder. What I'm looking for is that coracoid process that's part of the scapula. And then on the back side, I want to have the scapula too on my arm. And then I'll take him down into IR whenever I feel it kind of stop, right? And then the last one that we'll kind of look at is going to be shoulder external rotation. He's got plenty of that. He's got a lot of ER, but not a whole lot of IR, right? Obviously these are passive too, so the other thing that we would test is going to be active versus passive ranges of motion. His active range of motion is going to be Joey making a fist, just nice and easy, not too tight, and then just take your arm back. That's going to be an active range. So he's doing that on his own, and then to the best of his ability, just kind of have him stabilize his shoulder and then take it up into internal rotation. Not a whole lot of IR. I can already start to feel his shoulder move there. Another one, I'd have him scoot to the edge of the table a little bit, kind of check this one out. Is going to be shoulder horizontal abduction. And again, like I want him to be off the table enough that his shoulder can just drop down to the floor from this position. And then also too, we can feel the tightness across the front side as well here. So again, the shoulder flexion is going to test a little bit more of this lat here. The horizontal abduction is going to test a little bit more of this pec as well. Even too, subscap, we didn't talk a lot about that, but subscap's going to be inside the armpit basically, and that's also going to limit his horizontal abduction. And then when we're talking about IR and ER, we're talking about how strong this pec is in relation to how strong he is on the posterior cuff as well. So first thing that we're going to do, we're going to take Joey, we're going to have him move over to the edge a little bit. Go ahead and stay in your back though. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him bend his knees. That's just going to help keep his pelvis under his rib cage a little bit better from this position. And then I'm just going to get right to it because I've been working with Joey a little bit. Now that he's in the men's league, playing a little bit of men's league ball. Boy's trying to throw across the diamond, so we got to make sure we keep this wing right. I already kind of know what's going on with him since I've been working with him. So we're going to target the kind of lat and teres group first. We've been kind of hitting this a little bit for the last couple weeks because we're trying to get in so we can dig into the subscap a little bit too, because that's the tighter that is, it's going to limit your range of motion in your shoulder as well. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab Joey basically down here in his armpit. If you don't have somebody to work on you, this is easy to do on your own. All you got to do is take a foam roller and stick it up in there, or you can use a big lacrosse ball too. So what we're going to do, we're going to do more active release type stuff. So we're going to go thumb in the pocket, and then we're going to have him take his thumb out in this position right here like he's drawing a sword out. We're going to do a couple passes here. So once I kind of get on it and I can grab it in my hand, I'm just going to pin it down and hold it, and then I'm going to have Joey take his arm through a range of motion nice and easy. Slow, controlled. He's trying to reach his finger up and then also pull it back at the same time too. It's very uncomfortable for the guy doing it. Then I'm gonna have him come back up, stop, and I'm just gonna re-grip. And then make sure I'm pinning down the right spot on that. Go ahead, a couple more. So the last thing, we talked about the lat, we talked about the pec, we talked about the upper trap, we talked about the teres major. A lot of people don't realize this, but they kind of insert in the same spot minus the upper trap, but the pec, the lat, and this teres, they all insert in here to the inside part of the arm. So when those get short and tight, it's gonna rotate your arm forward into internal rotation. So in order for us to get Joey back into ER and be able to stabilize in that position, so strength and active range of motion, we got to release some of this stuff on the front side to get to the back side. But there's also going to be, like I said, the 180-degree rule. We don't want to work directly on the pec because that's where he's coming from right now. We're going to work a little bit more on this back side. There's a couple trigger points back here that we'll look at too. So with this, I'm going to have Joey flip over. He's going to lay on his back or on his stomach.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and testimonial, this last weekend, my arm felt the best that it's felt in like 7 years. So, anyways.
So keeping it simple, there's basically 3 muscles that we've been hitting with Joey. One of them being this teres group in the lat as well. What I just hit was mostly teres. But I'm gonna have Joey scoot over to his left side just a little bit. Keep going. So this one that we're gonna target is gonna be the straightest posterior. And that's kind of right up here, right at the top of the scapula. You'll feel that border, and then just down here. And again, if you don't have somebody to do this to you, you can easily get a lacrosse ball, and there's a little divot that you'll be able to feel right here inside the scapula. I usually get some pretty good referrals, and essentially referrals just, if I'm pressing here, he's feeling some radiation in the front of the shoulder, maybe some heat. Those are good things. So we wanna make sure that we're staying on those things. So I'm gonna work in nice and easy with Joey here. And again, I'm not a soft tissue professional. This is kind of just more of a strength coach, just figuring out how to keep their athletes on the field.
Oh yeah.
And again, we're gonna work a little bit more active release. So once I kind of just warm it up, loosen up a little bit, I'm gonna have him go into external rotation here.
Yeah, and like he said, like I'm feeling the front of my shoulder as he's pressing back there.
So go ahead and take your shoulder into external rotation for me. And then as he does this, I'm just trying to pin this down. Again, you guys can easily do this on the wall. We might make a couple videos for you guys showing how to do all this stuff on your own. Another thing too is if I want to apply more pressure, I'm going to use my thumb instead of my fingers, and then I'm going to push with my top finger instead of my bottom finger. And I'm having Joey work it through a full range of motion as I push down on this. Last one we're gonna hit, I'm gonna have Joey flip onto his left side. And again, we're gonna target this like teres junction up in here, so scoot back a little bit towards me. Again, you guys can easily do this stuff with a lacrosse ball, except instead of laying on this side, if you're trying to hit this, you're gonna lay on the opposite side. You're gonna put a lacrosse ball right in here, and you're gonna lay down on that thing. But since Joey's got me, I'm just gonna position him here. I'm gonna create some space in here, open this up a little bit, and then I'm gonna work in here and try to find kind of where he's feeling that tightness at. That right there, it's like flipping over a rubber band. And then from here, I'm just gonna take my elbow and apply some gentle pressure. If you're doing soft tissue on somebody else, a good thing to do is watch their face. If I drop my elbow in and he squints, that might be a little too hard, right? So I typically recommend a 6 out of 10 on the pain scale. So I kind of just work in nice and easy. I can feel this thing, I'm rolling over the top of it. I don't really want to flicker back and forth on it right now. I kind of just want to find the top of it and apply some gentle pressure in there. And that's it.